Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built. When we left off, I built the structure of this booth. Now it's time to clad it all in. Okay, so you saw me build all this the other day and making my new solid, proper structured booth. And the next thing I'm going to do is actually put a roof on it, or put the, put the floor on the mezzanine. That'll be the first thing to do. So let's start shipping in some sheets and see what we can make of what we've got. Those yellow tongue panels are heavy, but it's up there. The only issue is that I have to fit it around this roof truss section, so I'm going to have to just notch out the timber there. I'll mark it up, cut it out, and then I can just slide it back into place and it should be good. So let's start marking and notching. Alright, so I have a mezzanine level. The whole upper floor is all looking nice and buttoned up. It's nice and solid, so time to start working on the inside of the booth. All right, one wall is in. Basically, I went with 9mm ply. The reason for it is because I'm going to wet the floor in here and stuff like that. I wanted something that was going to resist it a bit better than gyprock. The other thing is it's also nice and solid, so that if I bump into it with something, which I will do because I'm that clumsy, it's got a bit of, it's nice and solid. It's not going to dent. So that's what I've done there. I've done that wall. Now I'm thinking about it, I need to go back over to the stud frame wall and connect it to the ground, because at the moment it's all just sitting there. All right, this part of the wall's done now as well. So the next thing I'm going to tackle is I'm going to put in the door. I just bought a cheap, I bought a bunch of cheap hollow core doors, sort of internal doors for this. Now I'm going to make the frame up. I probably, I'm not using proper door jambs like you'd use in a house that have already got a recess in them and all sorts of stuff. I'm just going to set it up so that it's simple and easy, and I'll just put a bead around it and probably some weather stripping or something to keep the air in, and it should be good. So now it's time to put in my last upright and cut out the floor and get this door in. One door. It just touches in the middle, but I'm happy with that at the moment. That'll work. I started to put a door handle on it, but I've had enough for today, so I'm going to start it again in the morning. All right, it's a new day, and I had all last night to think about what I was doing here, and I have some concerns. Follow me on this. My main concern is the width of this booth. I built it on the dimensions of the tent that I had before, and that was okay. Like that was sort of just enough room, and I was thinking that I just need to keep it to the same size, but I've gained a little bit of room outside, which I don't really use. This is the part of the area that I really need some space, and I don't have it. This distance from the wall on the side is about as tight as I'd want it on this side, particularly with this pillar here that I'd have to work around, that obviously I can't move. But this side here is far too tight to be able to paint. I just couldn't paint this here. Another thing one of you guys brought up that I am considering for the future, obviously, is the height of the booth. If I want to fit a rotisserie in here, and the plan is that the Alpha will go on a rotisserie. That's getting the whole hog treatment, and being on a rotisserie, whether I can rotate it all the way around or not, I'm not super concerned, but just basically the crux of it is that I'm going to have to pull apart what I've done, make it wider and make it taller. So at least I don't have to start from scratch. I don't need to make it any longer. I think the length is fine. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all of the yellow tongue off of the roof, take that down. I can move this wall out. I just have to get 11 more of these beams, but in a slightly wider length, about 600 mil wider is what I'm going to go. That is the plan. I'm going to pull it all down again, raise it up, move the wall out, and that is going to be lots of fun. So time to push this back out and start pulling things apart. All right, so now I've unbuilt half of the stuff that I actually spent the last couple of days building. To make it taller, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reuse these boards. So they're actually 140 by 45s. I'm going to go up another 140 mil all the way around. So using them on top of the wall and the panel I've got up here already, raise it up by 140, and then I can sit my new beams on top of that. Taller, wider, sorted. All right, it's a new day. I've gone out and got myself some longer beams for up the top. So now it's time to just trim them to length and nail them all up, and then try and get back to where we were a day or so ago. All right, back again, another fresh day, getting straight back into it, and what I need to do today is put the ceiling sheets up. Now, the issue is that when I've done my house and stuff in the past, I've actually, I had a panel lift that I borrowed from a friend, which is basically like a platform on wheels that you can stick the sheet on and sort of crank it up, and it'll push it up and hold it against the roof. I didn't have that. But thankfully, I do have a Mrs. Jeff who is currently at home, so I'm going to get her to help me. Before I do that, I'm going to go through. Thankfully, these sheets of ply are not super heavy, but what I want to do before I start wrestling and trying to hold it up there is I'm going to mark them out, make sure the exact right size, and I'm also going to start a bunch of screws in the back of it in the right spots so that I can just hold it up. The screw is already halfway into the sheet in the right spot, so I can just finish it up. That's the plan. So let's start measuring and pre-screwing. I have most of a ceiling. You can see there's some bits back over here that I haven't finished yet, and I haven't done the back wall, but it's Easter Monday, everything is closed, and I cannot go and get any more plywood, and I didn't get enough. So that is all I'm going to get done for right now on the paneling, but I still have to do something about this front entryway and the doors. How am I going to seal this up, but also be able to get cars in and out? That is the next thing I'm going to tackle. Okay, so I'm covered in dust because I've been ripping down strips to fit into the top corners of the booth. I've sort of made 45-degree angle pieces that will sit up there that I can mount my LED lights onto. But at the moment, what I'm concerned with is how am I going to block up the end of this booth? And what I've decided to do is I've got some just regular household doors that I'm going to use. I went and bought the cheapest glass door I could find, and that's going to go in this position right here in the end of the booth, so I can sort of see out into the rest of the workshop. And the rest, I'm just using cheap hollow core doors. I'm going to use another 2 doors on this side of the booth that will concertina in that way, and then this door will swing in individually on this side. So I'll be able to see in and out of the booth. And it'll have basically 3 doors wide, and that's how I'll get the cars in and out. So first of all, I'm going to mount this door up. I'm not going to recess the hinges or anything because I'm going to be using a foam weather seal. So that's the plan for that. So that's the first job, is to start just mount this door up, and then we can move on to the other doors. Oh, I've done it again. I've done the 100mm trick. Any of you who've ever done any carpentry will more than likely have come across this exact thing where I measured everything and somehow I've lost 100mm in the mix somewhere. So I built my end wall, I built my doors, and now there is a 100mm gap. I've lost 100mm somewhere, and yeah, it's all my mismeasurement, but the framework is basically here now. So I've got my bifold doors that open up and out of the way. I actually have a plywood stopper on the bottom of the outer edge of the door, just so that it takes the weight of the door and it's not all on the hinges. And obviously I've got my separate personnel door, so I can get in and out with this door if I choose to, and I can also see through it. That means I've got to pull that frame down and do it again, but I'm not doing that today because that's enough. That's enough for now. But at minimum, I still haven't had the car in here to see how much space I have, so let's do that. So I just realised my mistake. I didn't actually mismeasure the size and make the 100mm rule mistake. What I actually made was I forgot that I'd bought 3 hollow core doors. 2 of them were 820 wide and 1 is 720 wide, which was supposed to be for that personnel door back there. But I forgot, and when I put them together, obviously there's a 100mm narrower door on this front edge, which doesn't line up. So that is why there's a problem. That's easy enough to fix. I can move that forward later. Probably just box out the that door, convert it over to a 700mm door and swap them over. Easy enough to do. Anyway, that is the booth done for now. It's not finished. I still have the rest of the panels. I've got the back wall, I've got the extraction system to do. There's still a fair bit left to do, but I've basically spent my whole Easter break doing this, and that's where I am. So I'm definitely much happier with the room now. I've got pretty much equal distance on both sides at the moment, and there's plenty of room in here, even with all the junk that I've got in around this as well. Plenty of room for painting the cars, so quite happy with how it's come out. But that is definitely the end of my long weekend, so that means it is it for another episode. Any of you who want to help out, you can come and join us on Patreon, see the videos a day earlier than everyone else. It will really help us out. I've got some big plans for doing some really big new projects coming up that I think you guys will really like. And every time you help out, it really helps out the channel, getting us moving forward. Anyway, that's it. Get some inside info if you follow me on Facebook and Instagram along the way. But barring that, I will see you on the next one. See you guys.